This is my Nissan LEAF 2018. I've had it since it's new. It's a lease car. It's been very reliable. It's nice to drive. It does have some faults. The paintwork I think is pretty poor and is quite easily scratched. You can see here where someone's run a shopping trolley across it and damaged it. It has some deficiencies. It tends to hold the dirt quite badly this time of year. Obviously, just going through the puddles clings to the paintwork. I'm going to take it down the car wash later. You can see how dirty the back is. The other thing that I find annoying is that dirt accumulates just here. This is blossom and leaves off of the blossom tree up there that's only been in blossom for 3 days. And you can see how that gets inside, so you're always cleaning that. You can see how the dirt gets down into there, gets down into the sill here. As I predicted, I'm forever cleaning this part of it, so that's why I've got my thing there. The other thing that happens is that all the dirt gets in there. This is blossom and leaves, so I'm going to have to clean that out quite quickly. These Dunlop tyres seem to be quite fragile to me. And if you can see this big bulge that's appeared in the side of the here, you can see how this bulges right out. This is probably from going down a pothole. Now this is the second tyre that's done this. I've never had tyres in my life where they've bulged out like that. First time it happened about 3 years ago. I drove around with it for probably 6 months before I got it changed, because these tyres are £163 each. The new tyres that I'm having put on are £135 each. I've just put the car through the car wash and it's looking very shiny. I went for the £13 option with rain guard, but you can still see that the paint on the plastic is not the same colour as the paint on the metal. The plastic has got a tendency to scratch. These scratches, I've no idea where these came from, and also there's one here. Because it's plastic, of course it's not going to rust. Otherwise the paintwork has come up really quite nicely. Bearing in mind that the car is now 5.5 years old. It's done 35,000 miles. Front end's looking pretty good, but there are some chips out of the splitter vane. And there's this one large one here where some dork went into it with a trolley at Tesco's car park. The wheels are looking really good. I mean, the alloys are really quite tidy. I think probably that's just soap from the car wash, and the wheels could do with a bit more of a clean, which I'm going to do. These are new tyres, Sport Max, and they're made by Dunlop. And they cost me £135 each, but they seem really good. They've got good road holding. They've only done about 500 miles. So in general, for a car that age, the bodywork's not bad. As this is a lease car, they've demanded that it be cleaned and valeted before it goes back, and that the cables are returned. There's the main cable. The granny charger I've kept in this bag, and I've only ever used it once. And I've put a skin in there to keep the back clean, so this is now all coming out. So that's the back emptied out. You can see it's extremely clean. Got these marks on it from where things have been there. They look like they rub out, and for some reason that's popped off. Presumably that just goes back in. How's that go back in? Not like that, like that. Right, don't know why that's come out. Just got clicked. That's all clear, and then in there, behind this net, should be that thing, which I've never used. I've never actually got that out. When I first took delivery of the car, they told me, whatever you do, do not use that. So I never had. That needs a bit of cleaning. And now I need to take out the rear view camera, which is just there. There's no fixings on this, this is just popped in. Oh, and that just came off without even leaving a mark. Ideal. That's what we want. Inside I've got 2 sets of carpets because I happen to have 2 sets, which means that the ordinary carpet is completely unmarked. There's a lot of grass in here. Oh, a random mint imperial that's tried to escape. Cable for the rear camera, and again that's just popped in, no fixings. So when I take all these carpets out and then hoover it, it should be immaculate. So that's the other side, super clean before I've even used it. There's a bit of dust and things that's got in the back here. I'll hoover this out with the garage hoover and then it will be almost as a new car. The plastics need cleaning. I've got some special plastic cleaner for that, and I could do a bit in the door shuts there just to get some of this dust off. The front's the same. I bought proper fitted carpets, they just pop in, which means that the actual carpet of the car won't be damaged, and you can see it's really clean. I just need to hoover all the bits out, and again clean where the mud gets picked up on your shoes, give that all a good clean. The upholstery is practically immaculate. You get a little bit of creasing there, obviously where you get in and out of it and you use this the most, but the driver's seat is really good. Steering wheel, really quite good, except for this, well, I've had dirty hands and I'll take this dirt off. That's a bit unpleasant. The rest of it is really clean. I look after this car. I don't let people make a mess of it. The side pockets, I've got a cloth in there. That's the thing for smashing the windows. And I usually put my wallet in there, so this is ideal. The wallet goes in there and then the phone drops in there. That's not a charging pad, but it's just a great place to put it. And then there's a couple of cup holders in the middle, and this thing is one of those things, if I can actually get it out, it's one of those things for smashing windows, and that's actually really effective. That's for the camera, so I've got the front and rear camera over there, that's coming down, and I'll clean the glass. One of the things you do notice is these panels. These get really dirty all the time. They show marks all the time. If you run an e-cloth over them, they're lovely and shiny afterwards. This is pretty much the same as well. Now the reason the car is dirty at the moment is because it has rained solidly for the last 2 weeks and I haven't really had the gumption to come out and clean it properly. One thing I have noticed is where your passengers get out and they're a bit more clumsy or a bit older, they tend to kick that off. And it probably needs a bit of manipulation to get back on, but that is a bit annoying that they keep doing it. In the glove box is the current MOT, which runs to 24th of the 7th 2024, and that is the wheel locking nut. I have actually changed the wheels around. I put the front wheels on the back, so I've used that once. You don't get a jack with this car, so you have to use a trolley jack and be really careful because it's not easy to do. But otherwise that's in immaculate condition. Then I have to take out my collection of mint imperials, doggy bags and audio cables. Oh, a really nice pen. Again, it's one of those things for smashing windows. I seem to have a collection of those. And hand gel, harking back to those COVID times. So if you were Sherlock Holmes, you would conclude that I have to write things. I've got various different kinds of phones. Somebody has bought me a really quite nice knife from abroad. I think that's from Spain. Oh yeah, I'm really interested in cars because that's an annual pass to the National Motor Museum. I've got a dog. I've got a girl who really likes plugging her phone into my sound system, and that looks like a charger for a phone that's now out of date, and the dreaded COVID hand gel. Oh, also earplugs for when I go away and have to stay in hotels, and real money for when I actually need it. And I obviously also have to wear glasses at some point, and I've got my lovely Matrix sunglasses which I'm forbidden to wear in the presence of my children. The car tells you how to start it. Push the brake down, press the button, you get this groovy graphic, and the wing mirrors fold out. It now tells you the range, it's fully charged, and it's only 132 miles in it. And the reason for that is because the day before yesterday I went hammering down the motorway at slightly over 70 miles an hour, and that really scrubs the power, and then it looks at your recent activity and calculates it from that. Every time it asks you to access the telematics services, and you have to press, I always press OK. I've never pressed decline, and at the moment it's set to come straight up onto the sat nav. Lovely menu, easy menus, you've got big buttons. If you want to set your radio, oh brilliant, bit of Danse Macabre from Saint-Saëns. How good is that? For anyone who knows, this is the theme music to Jonathan Creek. I'll just turn that off. You can connect your phone to it. The info is quite interesting. So zero emission, climate control, traffic information, Nissan Connect, and then there's some more here. I have never looked at these things. In all the time I've had it, I've never bothered to look at it. I don't. What does zero emission tell us about? Energy usage. 132 miles. Turn off climate control to get an extra 5 miles. In all my cars, I never turn off the air conditioning. I always have it running all the time. That's telling me very little. I don't really understand that. Presumably this activates while the car is moving. Go back out of that. Nearby zero. Driving range. What does it say about driving range? Come on. Oh, no, driving range doesn't do anything. Right, update stations. Nope. Zero emissions settings. Oh, it's having an epi. It doesn't want to do anything now. Oh, ooh, driving range. 132 miles. You know what? I've never seen that. It's got a little map thing there, which presumably you can just zoom into. Right, okay. That's a bit random, isn't it? It tells you how far you're going to get on one charge. So this graphic is showing you the supercharger station down near the Notley Garden Village. That is the only charging station I've ever been to. And when I did go there, it was in the middle of COVID, I was the only one there, and I couldn't make it work. So they plugged it in for me and gave me the power for free. So if you press the menu button, you get all these different ways of accessing practically the same thing. That's the radio, address book. I don't use any of those things. Call history, edit menu, time, smartphone correction, climate control, energy usage. Go back to energy usage. To be honest, that doesn't really tell me that much. So we'll come out of that one. I'll just use the menu to go back to the sat nav. And that's to set it up. Really easy. And that's the map. The map is really good, the sat nav is really good, it seldom gets lost. There is an area down near Wickford, which is near Southend in the UK, where all sat navs get lost, they don't know where they are. At the moment the heat is on and the aircon is on. That gives you nice dry heat, keeps the windscreen clear, and it's set to 22 degrees. If you turn those off, you should be able to hear it's just turned off. Obviously you can drive around and that gives you 5 extra miles if you're really in panic mode, but most of the time I never turn that off. On here is a compass button for the menu. I usually have it set up like this so I can see the power and the range easily, and the speedometer is an analog one, which is great. You press the button, you get audio source. You get a compass, which is sometimes useful if you're using Google, because it's got a really bad habit of telling you, go, proceed north. I don't know what north is. Miles per kilowatt, I don't know what that's telling me. Presumably that's something that goes while you're moving. Digital speedometer. And then all the different settings. So all these different settings that you can go into, customize display, vehicle settings. The only one I really use is the timing setting. I've never looked at these. Oh, obviously I've actually changed the clock. One of the annoying things on this is that the clock You have to manually change it in the summertime. It does not understand British summertime. Then you've got unit language and factory reset, which I assume someone would use to get rid of all your phone numbers. In fact, I suppose I ought to do that, but I don't think I've got any phone numbers stored in it, because I never use that system. I use it straight from the phone. EV settings, what does that give us? Charge timers, they're all the timers so you can set it up to charge at night, or you've got the control so you can get it to warm itself up in the morning, which is brilliant because you can have the seats on. The heated seats are rocker switches, and the one for the back is in there, and often that gets clicked on and forgotten about, so the heat back seat is on, but the way I understand it is that it doesn't warm up unless you sit on it, so you're not wasting the power. The reason they're rocker switches and not touch sensitive is because you can set them, and then at night you can set the system to wake up in the morning, and it will heat the car up. It will heat the seats that you've turned on, it will heat the front screen, it will demist, and when you come down the car's defrosted, it's lovely and warm inside, and you can just drive off. This top one's interesting, EPS. So that shows you that it's like a traction control system. The traction control on this car is actually rubbish. It's almost non-existent, so I don't know what would happen if you turned that off. It would spin the wheels even more, I imagine. This is another good one, traffic sign recognition. It automatically recognises the speed limits through the cameras, which is great if you've got a lot of roadworks around, particularly if you're going down the M25 or M4 and they keep changing it. It will automatically pick it up and then show you what the speed is. Now at the moment, that's actually wrong, because where I live, it is a 40 mile an hour limit. It's got tyre pressure measuring units, and it says you can reset them. I'm not sure about this car whether or not that's going to be that accurate, because the wheels have been moved around and I don't know if it understands if that's happened. This car has this Pro Pilot Assist. I've never used that. It is really annoying. I can't understand why anyone would want to rely on other people's cars to control theirs, so I've never used that. You can turn the sound off that it makes when it's going slow. I've never touched that. Heated steering wheel, override for the charger, and obviously if you're going to plug it in somewhere else. Before I hoover out the inside, I'm just going to do under the bonnet and under the power catch, whatever you call that thing. So just pop the bonnet. So bearing in mind that this car is 5.5 years old, it's done 35,000 miles, it is very clean underneath. I do regularly clean it because you get this, so I come on here with a brush and a cloth and just clean it all off. You do get cobwebs in the summertime. This water here is from where it's gone through the car wash, and you can see that the water does get inside it. It's been maintained really well, it's been serviced correctly. The only thing is you do tend to get a lot of blossom and things gets inside it. See the spider's webs there? So I'm just going to hoover that out, and then the rest of it I'll wipe over with a clean cloth. This picks up the most dirt in here, so the blossoms got in here and the water gets in here, so I just need to drag all the dirt out of that and clean it up. Wasn't like this last week. It's because all the blossoms come down and it has rained so bad. One of the features of this car that does annoy me is these deep wells for the windscreen wipers. They just fill up with rubbish, dirt, grass, soil, and it's really hard to get it out. I don't see why they've designed it in that way. These would have been much better if they would either be much bigger wells or they would just flush. As this is a lease car, I've done absolutely no maintenance work on it at all. The only thing I've ever done is put washer fluid in it. And I had the windscreen wipers changed last year, and one of them was cracked, so they had to change it again. But I've just noticed, I think there should be a cap there, the same as that. So somehow the garage has lost that. Thanks very much. One thing that's always ticked me off about this car is the poor paintwork. You can see that it's not actually painted here, and on the other side, and other sections. Down here this isn't painted, and up here this is covered in grease because it isn't painted. I think that's really poor. One of the weaknesses in this car is the windscreen, and just there's a star. Fortunately it is not in the B zone and it's not in the A zone, but that is the second windscreen that I've had, and I wasn't about to go and get another one just for that little chip. For one thing, obviously you have to pay your excess for a new windscreen, then you have to get it fitted, then you have to take it back to Nissan to have the cameras recalibrated, so it turns into kind of a 3-day epic. So the car is about as clean as I can get it. I'm not a full-time valeter, but it's looking pretty tidy. I managed to get everything to shine. Everything's in good condition. There's the mileage, 34795, practically 35,000 over 5 years. Everything's clean and everything's empty. I probably just want to go in there with a wet towel to get those bits out. It's all looking nice and bright and shiny. Little wipe over the back. One thing that really is annoying is that this bit of window never gets cleaned properly. And there's the charging. There's a charging cable, and this is the granny charger. I've never used that. I've kept it in a bag in the back. In fact, that's the bag that came with it. I've never used that either. So that's all ready to go back when the lease company comes to pick it up. After about 4 years of having this car, I was asked how much of the battery is depleted, and I've gone through all these menus and I have no way of working that out. All I can say is that it performs exactly the same as when I got it on day one. It goes fast, it handles quite nicely, the braking's not bad, the ABS is rubbish, stability control is rubbish. It's quite easy to spin the wheels, especially if you take off without the E-pedal. So if you use the E-pedal a lot, that gives you a lot more range. I really like the E-pedal, I use it as a brake. One of the disadvantages of that is that for the last 2 MOTs they've told me that my front brake rotors are rusty and I should have new ones. I took the wheels off and looked at them and I couldn't see anything wrong with them, and when it was serviced by Nissan they said no, they're all right. I think that's just a scam run by the garages. If you look in here you can see this brake is quite rusty, but you can also see that the pad doesn't go to the outside anyway. They wanted hundreds and hundreds of pounds to change these and I just went no. It's connected up to my home charger. At the moment there's 105 miles on it. Maximum charge is about 135 miles and they want it fully charged when it goes back. That will turn on at 12:30 tonight. Now you're probably wondering, what is this car like to drive? I really like it. It's a nice car to drive. It's easy to drive when you get used to the E-pedal system. You can drive it like a bumper car. It's fast. It does 0 to 60 in 7.2. It outpulls most other cars. Top end is rated at 87. I've had it reading unofficially 95, which probably is 87. The handling is acceptable for a front-wheel drive car. It is useless in the mud. The traction control is rubbish, and the ABS is rubbish. But if you've come from a sort of lower spec car, you're not really going to notice that. Changing lanes when you're not.
No, right in front. There you go. That just worked out. Nice.
One nice thing about this car is it pulls away really fast.
Yeah, it's fast.
Even in the E-pedal.